Hi, everybody. I thought I would do a Thanksgiving message on this COVID Thanksgiving. I think we're used to traditional Thanksgiving messages, but there's nothing traditional about this Thanksgiving at all. And and I guess that's a time for us to think things through differently. I'm sure that many of you are going to have an unconventional Thanksgiving. Normally, at my home, I would be hosting my family. I'd have, I don't know, 12, 18, 20, 22 people here. And now it's going to be a very tiny group of our little COVID bubble, 6 people, 5 people. And with great sadness, all my family is sprinkled everywhere else, but better that than thinking that they may not be here next year at all. But I thought about what am I thankful for, and my list is so long. It's so long. But the thing that I also noticed is, in addition, of course, to my deep gratitude for my friends, my family, my health, and all the lists that I'm grateful for all the time. All the time. I don't need a day on the calendar for that. But the other thing that I don't know if it's a thing, but the other gift that I'm incredibly thankful for is the gift of microrealizations that make big differences in my life. And I don't know if they're going to make a difference in your life, but I'm going to share them. And that's that I think that one of the experiences that I value now the most, and it could be the most, is when I experience a what I call a download or a gift of an awakening or a thought that comes into me that is so profound. It could be tiny, but it's so profound, excuse me, that it reassembles my understanding of life, of some part of life. And my gratitude for that is so enormous that I dwell in that thought, and then it kind of becomes like a flying carpet for me. It takes me through the whole of my life. I kind of sit on it. I travel in it. I relish it. It talks to me. It reassembles how I've understood life to that moment. So these are not ordinary thoughts. Like an ordinary thought is, maybe I should cook with more garlic today. But these are jewels. And they're like transmissions of grace. And one of those was about what it means to be of service. And service is a large part of our thinking mechanism. I know so many people have said to me through the years that I want my life to be of service. And I think that the inclination in us is to look for a task, to be of service by looking for something to do, help this person out, help that, all of which is incredibly valuable. Incredibly valuable. But I had this download just the other day. And as I saw the increasing number of homeless people waiting for food, and And I thought, this is really going to grow. This is going to grow. And how can we be of service here? And the thought occurred to me that there's no shortage of power in us to help out others, that to be of service through empowering others is a true act of gracing another person. That to empower another person is to help them feel the life force again. And what I mean by that is, in all the ways in your life, when you are with somebody, however you in conversations, big and small, in interactions with people, if you thought about that as an exchange of power in your conversations and the tone of voice you use, everything is a capacity, an opportunity to grace somebody or not, to empower them or not. And if you really were mindful of how active your intuitive system became every time you're with somebody, all the data you get, all the information, all the energetic information that flows through you the moment you're with somebody, the moment you see somebody. And let me just hit a pause button and say, to ground this into practical terms, picture yourself having a cappuccino and you are just casually there talking to a friend. And yet, as people go by, your intuitive system is just operating on high gear, saying, I bet that person's this. I bet you're doing what's called labeling. I bet that person is this. I bet that person's that. I bet that person's a geek. This person looks that. And what in my language, you're doing an archetypal reading. You're getting all that data. Ordinary mortals call it labeling. But in fact, you're doing an archetypal reading. You're getting a power read on that person. Your intuitive system is up and running and you're retrieving data. And that is exactly what you're doing. And they do that with you. And you utilize this data. And in that same way, when you are with somebody, you're interpreting data as to whether or not you feel threatened, comfortable. And as you become attuned to what is it they really want, what's really going on here, you can sense what a person actually needs. And whether or not your choice of words will empower them or disempower them. Whether they're looking for reinforcement, whether their self-esteem needs a boost, whether they're looking for kindness, patience. And this type of power is ours to give in abundance to human beings. In abundance. And it means more than can be measured. Because if you've ever been at your wit's end and someone just took that extra step to be a little patient with you, to calm you down, it was everything in that moment. It was everything. It could have kept you from getting in the car and having an accident. It was everything. And what I am saying is one of the jewels to be thankful for is the many resources you have in yourself to be of service to so many people, that these many ways don't require funds and don't require abundance of capital and don't require abundance of ordinary power. They just are channeling right through you all the time. That all you need to do is think when you're with somebody, What kind of power do I have that they need? Do they need kindness? Do they need patience? What do they need? Do they need someone to say, you're doing a good job? What do they need? How can I empower them? And all of us have that. All of us have that capacity to ask ourselves, how can I empower this person and leave this situation better than I found it? Better than I found it. Not take power from it, but empower it. And you know, I'm thick in the trenches of dialoguing with this huge jewel, trying to articulate what the journey is from how we move from the love of power to the power of love. Because that is essentially the journey of life. And we move through stages. And it is very challenging for us to decide to empower another rather than take power. Rather than take power. To empower. That's the great turning point. And if you really got this, you would, if you could fly off the planet for a moment and look down, you would see that all struggles are essentially, symbolically, archetypally, played off right in between the battlefield of the love of power and the capacity to engage the great power of love. And so, what I am thankful for this Thanksgiving is that I'm beginning to understand that deeply, deeply, so deeply. And that love is such a powerful, not personal, squishy love, but this true, huge force that comes in a variety of flavors, from kindness to the capacity to just be patient, to not raise your voice to someone, to appreciate what they've done and compliment them, no matter what it is, because that would make their day. The ability to see the fragility in another person and to boost them up a little bit, to be able to give more than you get and be okay with it because you're getting more than they'll ever know from a different source. So I think Thanksgiving comes in many varieties this year. I've thought more than once how many times I've heard people say through the years, I just need my own space. I just need my own space. And now we've been in our own spaces for so long, we'd give anything to have people coming through our spaces that we could just hold on to and hug and say, don't you ever leave here again. Because we miss that love and we miss that closeness. And we would be so thankful for that, wouldn't we? So this is a Thanksgiving that maybe is awakening us to what we really value as well. Not to find a point on what Thanksgiving Day is all about, but what it is that we really do and really should be thankful for. So I thought if I will leave you with a small prayer at the end. about love. And my deepest wish is that you have a wonderful Thanksgiving. The grace of love is pure bliss. It doesn't have a downside, Lord. That grace only inspires us and makes us want to do the impossible for the people we love. No wonder we associate you with love. We turn to you when we need the impossible to happen in our lives. Love seems to be the way to reach you, the phone line you answer most directly. When we combine love with faith, we get right through to you. I cannot ask for the grace of love without being willing to share this grace, and I know that. But I've also learned that this is a grace that won't stay in place in a person's heart. It longs, sorry about that, it longs to be shared, and it has your imprint on it. The wonder of it all. Thank you, everybody.